We are constantly told where to buy a house, where to relocate, and which U.S. cities are booming. But what about the places Americans are fleeing? Today, on the American Exit, we are looking at the dark side of the U.S. real estate market. We are exploring the top 5 abandoned places in America. These are the modern U.S. ghost towns destroyed by toxic disasters, economic collapse, and massive government buyouts. If you are fascinated by the most dangerous towns in the U.S. or just want to see what happens when a local economy completely dies, you need to see this. Let's begin the countdown. Number 5. Whittier, Alaska. The town under one roof. We often talk about small-town vibes, where everyone knows everyone. But in Whittier, Alaska, that is taken to a claustrophobic extreme. Almost the entire population of this town, about 270 people, lives inside a single building. It's called the Begich Towers. It's a 14-story Cold War-era barracks that looks like a Soviet hotel dropped onto the edge of a glacier. Why do they live like this? Because the environment outside is trying to kill them. Whittier sees some of the brutalest weather on the planet. Winds can hit 100 miles per hour. Snowfall can reach 20 feet in a single winter. To survive, the town consolidated. The police station, the post office, the grocery store, the school, the laundromat, the church, and the apartments are all inside the Begich Towers. You could be born, go to school, get married, and live your entire life without ever stepping foot outside if you didn't want to. Children go to school through an underground tunnel so they don't freeze to death. But the isolation goes deeper. If you want to visit Whittier, you have to drive through the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel. It's the longest highway tunnel in North America, cutting 2.5 miles through solid granite. But it's only 1 lane wide. Cars have to take turns. And here's the kicker. The tunnel closes at night. If you're not inside the town by 10:30 p.m., you're locked out. If you have a medical emergency at midnight, you're locked in. It's a town that functions like a submarine, efficient, tightly packed, and completely cut off from the rest of humanity. For the people who live there, it's a tight-knit community. For outsiders, it feels like a psychological experiment waiting to go wrong. Number 4. Cairo, Illinois. The city that erased itself. If you look at a map, Cairo should be one of the richest cities in America. It sits at the exact point where the mighty Mississippi meets the Ohio River. It's a geographic gold mine for trade and shipping. In the 1920s, it was booming. It was known as Little Chicago. It had mansions, opera houses, and a bustling port. Today, it looks like the set of a post-apocalyptic movie, and the apocalypse wasn't nuclear, it was social. Cairo is a tragedy of racial tension and economic collapse. In the 1960s, the civil rights movement hit Cairo hard. The white leadership of the town refused to integrate. They closed public pools rather than let black residents swim in them. The result was a boycott. The black community stopped shopping at white-owned businesses. The economy ground to a halt. Instead of fixing the problem, the business owners simply left. They packed up and moved to the suburbs or other states. Then the railroad industry changed and the river traffic slowed. The population plummeted from over 15,000 to under 2,000 today. Walking through Cairo now is a surreal experience. You see magnificent 3-story Victorian mansions with their roofs caved in. You see a historic downtown with beautiful brickwork, but every single window is boarded up. There's no grocery stores. There's no hospital. The city has effectively ceased to function. It isn't haunted by ghosts. It's haunted by the choices of the past. Cairo serves as a brutal warning to every other city in America. If a community turns against itself, it doesn't matter how good your geography is, you can still wipe yourself off the map. Number 3. Picher, Oklahoma. The most toxic town in America. Most ghost towns die because the jobs leave. Picher died because the ground turned against the people. In the 1920s, this wasn't a ghost town. It was the center of the world. Picher was the copper and zinc capital of America. During World War I and World War II, over 50% of the lead used in U.S. military ammunition came from this single small town. Picher helped win the wars, but the war came home. The mining process left behind massive mountains of waste rock, known as chat piles. These weren't just small hills, they were hundreds of feet high. They looked like sand dunes. For decades, they were the town's playground. We have photos of the high school track team training on these piles. Families had picnics on them. Children filled their sandboxes with this material. They didn't know that the sand was laced with dangerously high levels of lead and arsenic. The consequences were slow, silent, and devastating. By the 1990s, health officials noticed something terrifying. The children of Picher were getting sick. Their grades were dropping. Their behavior was erratic. Testing revealed that 34% of the children in Picher suffered from lead poisoning. The lead was in the air, it was in the water, it was in the dust on the kitchen table. The town was literally poisoning its own future. But the horror didn't stop at the surface. Underground, the miners had dug so aggressively that the town was sitting on a honeycomb of empty caverns. Suddenly, houses started sinking. Drivers would be going down the road and the pavement would just disappear into a black abyss. The structural integrity of the entire zip code was failing. In 2006, the Army Corps of Engineers released a report stating that 86% of the town's buildings were in imminent danger of collapsing into the mines. The U.S. government stepped in with a buyout program. They told residents, "Take the money and run." Most left, but some refused to abandon their homes. Then, nature delivered the final blow. In May 2008, an EF4 tornado tore directly through the center of Picher, flattening what little was left. Today, Picher is a fenced-off wasteland. It looks like the surface of the moon. It's a chilling monument to industrial greed and the price we pay for extracting resources from the earth. Number 2. Centralia, Pennsylvania. The town that burns from below. Imagine a fire that you cannot see, but you can feel under your feet. A fire that you cannot put out with water. A fire that has been burning since John F. Kennedy was president. This is the reality of Centralia. It started innocently. In May 1962, the town council wanted to clean up a landfill for Memorial Day. They set fire to the trash in an abandoned strip mine pit. They thought they put it out. They were wrong. The fire seeped down through a hole in the pit and ignited a massive labyrinthian coal seam that ran hundreds of feet underground. This wasn't just a small fire. This was an inferno fueled by millions of tons of anthracite coal. For years, the residents didn't know. They smelled sulfur. Their basements felt unusually warm in the winter. Then on Valentine's Day 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski went into his backyard, and suddenly the ground opened up beneath him. He fell into a sinkhole that was spewing lethal carbon monoxide. He survived because his cousin pulled him out. When they measured the temperature of the steam coming out of that hole, it was over 350 degrees. The government panicked. They spent $42 million trying to dig trenches and flush the mines, but the fire was too big, too deep, and too hot. In 1992, the governor of Pennsylvania invoked eminent domain. They condemned the entire town. They revoked the property rights of every citizen. They deleted the zip code 17927 from the postal system. Today, Centralia is a grid of empty streets overgrown with weeds. But if you stand quiet on a cold day, you can see white smoke rising from the ground.
Number 1. Helltown, Ohio. The government conspiracy. How do you evacuate an entire town overnight? And why did they rename it Helltown? The real name was Boston Township. It was a quiet rural community established in 1806. It had mills, homes, and families. But in 1974, a nightmare began. President Gerald Ford signed a bill to create the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. The National Park Service decided they needed the land. They didn't ask the residents to leave, they ordered them. Using a power called immense domain, the federal government seized hundreds of homes. Families were given pennies on the dollar and told to get out immediately.
But the government moved faster than the bulldozers. For years, the houses stood empty. Imagine driving down a street where every single house is boarded up. U.S. government no trespassing signs were stapled to the front doors. The town wasn't dead, it was in a coma. This visual, an entire empty town sitting in the woods, sparked the imagination of the public. Rumors began to fly. People said the government emptied the town because of a chemical spill that created mutants. They said the local church was a front for a satanic cult. They said a bus full of children was slaughtered in the woods by an escaped mental patient. None of it was true, but the vibe was so terrifying that the name Helltown stuck. Today, most of the houses have been torn down, but the roads remain. Stanford Road, often called the Highway to Hell, winds steeply into the dark forest. If you drive there at night, you can still feel the anger and the sadness of the people who were forced out. It is a ghost town created not by economics, but by a signature on a piece of paper in Washington, D.C.